so Mr. Shankesh Shah is with us. So he'll talk about how to make the startups investment ready, and after that, 5 of our startups, incubated startup, they will pitch. Little bit about Mr. Shankesh Shah. Mr. Shankesh Shah is associated with EDI for a long time actually, and he is founder of Cognizant Ventures, founder of Cognizant Techno Services LLP. He is also Chief Operating Officer at Entrepreneur, the business incubator. And he was an integral part of Vibrant Gujarat Startup Technology Summit in 2018 and 2019 as a vertical head, Manufacturing 4.0, and worked closely on calibrating an event with Government of Gujarat as core team member. So he is accomplished speaker and have delivered his lecture in different platforms like Confederation of Indian Industry, Chandigarh, then GCCI, Gujarat Chamber of Commerce Industries, Internet and Mobile Association India, Center for Entrepreneurship Development, Government of Gujarat for textile focused startups and SMEs, special series and magnet molding session at VIT Chennai. So the list is very long actually. And also he is mentor of several other several agencies like Startup India by DPIIT, Niti Aayog, Government of India, Startup Gujarat by Industries Commissioner, Government of Gujarat, IIT Varanasi, BHU, Veller Institute of Technology, the National Entrepreneurship Network managed by Wadhwani Foundation. So he is associated with different academic institutions also, LJ Institute like LJ Integrated MBA, then BK Majumdar Institute of Business Administration, Ahmedabad University, then visiting faculty of Times Business School, Ahmedabad. So, and we are very fortunate that we have got Mr. Shankesh Shah with us, and a huge experience in startup investment. So, I'd like to request you, Mr. Shah, if you kindly share your thoughts about it. Over to you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right. So, hello everyone. Very good afternoon. Right. This is not a very right time to have such kind of sessions, but let me. It's generally a post lunch time, and having this kind of session may not be that. So we try to make it more interactive rather than just one way. Just passing on the information. Right. I can see many of the faces. I can see many of you who are already quite familiar with me, quite familiar with the startup ecosystem per se. So there is nothing which is very new that we are gonna discuss today. But yes, in my little bit of experience in the world of investments, whatever I have got, right? Why don't we really try to understand what actually makes your startup investment ready? Okay. I have been a venture capitalist from 2010 to 2016 for nearly 7 years. And I have gone through many pitches, many ideas. Some amazing ideas I have seen failing really badly. I have seen some really good, potential startups have not been able to successfully execute the project. I have seen very good founders not in a position to really achieve what startup had a potential to. So all those failure stories I have witnessed, and I have not just witnessed, but we have witnessed it hard way, because we have invested in some of those startups and we lost the money. So the learning was a very hard learning. But that has also given me some real insight of what is to be done to make startup successful? So I'll begin with quoting one article, which is very prominent article written by Graham Paul of Y Combinator. He is a founder of Y Combinator. As you all know, Y Combinator is a very prominent, successful incubator accelerator of the world. Many unicorns have at least, I think more than 10 unicorns have been incubated at Y Combinator. Now Y Combinator has also spreaded their wings in India. And Graham Paul wrote somewhere around 18 mistakes which can kill the startup. So I will not get into all those 18, otherwise it will definitely take next 1 hour in that. I am not taking you there. But I must recommend all of you to read that. Out of 18 mistakes, the most important mistake from investment point of view, which I have found, 3-4 mistakes basically. Asking too much money, raising too much money, or raising too little money, right? Spending too much on customer acquisition, basically. These are some of the mistakes which he has considered, and these mistakes are definitely worth pondering. In the age when customer is a king, in the age where we feel that data is everything, to gain data, to what extent you should spend. There cannot be unlimited thing. I always say one thing, marketing is a black hole. You cannot spend too much money in marketing. So I have decided few pointers. I tell you those pointers. Critical evaluation for startups who tries to raise the fund. Number 1, make your execution plan very robust, because a very good idea with a bad execution or average execution will not really excite investors. A right execution plan is the key for raising the fund. It cannot be that there is a huge market, the market is of, let's say, $200 billion. If I am achieving only 1% of it, I will definitely become $2 billion business. No. These words are not generally accepted by investor. I take a pause to understand, to grasp the matter, and if you have any question, you can, stop me in between, we can discuss. So write execution plan. Plan A, plan B ready. If this will not work, what will work? If not this, then what? Ask how of everything. Otherwise, this will definitely make your pitch very loose-ended. Stage पे जाके multiple ifs and buts के साथ बात करना, right? Saying I want this much of money, I want this much of money, I'm gonna spend it here, there. Okay. Not to undermine the value of everything, but the important will remain with execution plan. An execution plan is step-by-step execution plan. For example, I'll just give you one example. One of the company where we recently closed one investment round, and the company has stated that 5-year implementation plan. The only decision-making factor was, how are you going to achieve from day 0 to at the end of 5th year, what all you are going to achieve and how? Bifurcating the smallest possible action. 5 year to 1 year, 1 year to 3 months, 3 months to 1 month, 1 month to 1 week. And then weekly plan turning into monthly plan, That is weekly success turning into monthly success, turning into quarterly success, turning into yearly success, turning into 5-year success, and the investor who has invested today 1x, we can get up to 10x. That's the plan. Now none of us should give a commitment for future, but can we commit ourselves for a right execution? So that is number one. Number two, absolute, no one business can do everything under the world in one business. What happens is, I have heard many talks and they come, okay, in the world of healthcare we want to do everything. We will do organ transplantation also, we will do blood banking also, we will do hospital management also, we will do patient recovery also, we will do pharmaceutical also, we will do biotechnology also, we will do everything. Now practically speaking, if you have too much of diverted focus, investor will question. But now it will raise one important question. And quite recently I had this discussion with one of the startup. Hey sir, I have multiple plans and I am not working full time. For example, in my personal capacity, I can say that I am working with multiple startups as a co-founder. Now the question will remain whether investors are willing to invest in those startups where founder is occupied in multiple positions and not working only focused on to one business. So yes, you should have the right team in place, right CEOs in place, right execution capabilities in place. And then if you talk logical, if you talk base level, I have seen investors investing in money. I have created two of my ventures. One is in service industry, one is in manufacturing industry, and probably I have raised funds for both. I being the common founder. Unfortunately, both the investors were aware about it. So again, it goes back to number one, execution. Number two, as I have said, ask right amount. Investors don't want to check your next 6 months cash flow. Investors are interested in looking at least with this money, are you going to focus on next 18 months to 24 months runway? In this next 24 months, are you willing to take this business to next level? Or we all know that fundraising activity takes 4 to 6 months many a times. The question will be, in next 4 to 6 months, if you are going to drain the investor money, after 6 months you will be once again going back to the same level and raising next round of money, then investors are not willing to invest in your company. So have a right amount, how much you are seeking. Cannot be more, cannot be less. Then third, most important, have absolute clarity on the vision. You cannot decide your way based on जो होगा देखा जाएगा attitude. It can't be. It has to be very precisely, it has to be, this is what we want to achieve out of this activity. And unless you do it, believe me, investors are not willing to consider. Fourth, exit plan. Every investor who comes to you comes with the exit plan in mind. How are you going to provide the exit? Now, I have heard one thing very clearly. Many of the startups coming and telling me at round 1, round 2 level, they come and they tell me, sir, हम इतना पैसा बनाएंगे कि आपको exit तो हम ही दे देंगे. Promoter buyback. In their pitch deck, they have mentioned promoter buyback. And believe me, I haven't seen a single good startup who have been able to facilitate me promoter buyback. It can't be possible. You need secondary sale, third level sale. यू कांट रियली थिंक ऑफ कि प्रमोटर इतना पैसा बना देगा कि इन्वेस्टर कोई 10x दे के वापस खरीद लेगा. डिफ़िकल्ट है. और ये जब पॉलिसीज आती है, ये जब प्रोमिस आते हैं, ये सारे कमिटमेंट्स आते हैं, तब इन्वेस्टर्स विल डेफिनेटली थिंक ट्वाइस. यार ही इज़ नॉट रियलिस्टिक, he or she is not realistic, which we don't want. Fourth, बहुत ही टिपिकल है बट फैक्ट है, स्टार्टअप फाउंडर शुड हैव अ वेरी क्लियर रोड मैप ऑफ टीम मैनेजमेंट, बिकॉज one person cannot and can never. You should have the team in place, or at least plan for team in place. You should have scouted the people that, this is the guy I feel can be very good for me, but right now I can't afford it. If you give me money, I'll bring that guy on board. Right team is definitely important. Now, getting money is one thing. Executing startup is also important. Facilitating investor, third level, is also, exit is possible. But the real challenge also comes when you have more than one investor in place. Post investment monitoring. I am taking, the time is limited. I was given half an hour. We started at 2:05. I will complete at 2:35. But my point is, if I am talking to multiple investors, we should have a capability to manage those investors. I'll tell you one classic example. One of the company started, impact investment company was there. Way back in 2003, they started their operations. In 2007, they raised round 1. One of the prominent VC fund of India, I will not name anyone. In 2009, the VC fund partially exited in 2 years only, and also given some further money to the startup. In 2012, both the investors were waiting. Okay, now we don't want to take an exit. And third investor came in. कि now अगर कंपनी को ग्रोथ देना है, by that time in 2003 to 2012, the company's top line turnover was almost around 40 crore. The company was growing. It was in agriculture segment. Impact investment, third investor was ready. Fortunately, we were the third investor. And we wanted to invest in 2013, I'm telling you. But the point was, by the time we entered the gamut and we started the discussions between two original investors, both the investors were not in a good terms with each other. And in 2015, because of investors, original investors who were fighting in between, the company closed their operations. This is the poor investor management's real example in front of me. And we didn't invest it. We expressed our willingness to invest, but we didn't invest it. Because what happened? Company has invited both the investors on the board. But there was no common arrangement of investor management. Now let me tell you, if there are 10 investors in your company, let's say tomorrow morning Government of India approves and equity funding is possible through crowdfunding module, there are going to be maybe 100 investors. How will you manage investors? There are good options available, where amongst all the investors, we can nominate 2 investors with clear roles and responsibility. You you cannot allow all the investors to run your show. You are working at a ground level. And investors, let me tell you one another interesting story. Investors are not good business people. They know network, but their mindset comes from multiplying their own investments. But ground reality, customers don't operate with your vision of giving a 10x return to your investor. Customers will look at the product, the market, the potential, the requirement, the need. Now you being a founder has to play a very, very balanced role between managing the investor and managing the customer. And customer will remain the king, not the investor. One of the prominent hospital in Ahmedabad was bought by one of the private equity player, top-notch private equity player of Southeast Asia. It was bought for somewhere around 1400 crore. And then it wasn't more than 6 to 9 months. The private equity player came back and gave it back to the original owner of that company for 800 crore. Why? In just 6 to 9 months, private equity player understood कि यार हॉस्पिटल चलाना हमारा काम नहीं है. You must have interacted with many investors. Always you have pushed yourself in telling your story. Pushed yourself in telling your plans. Have you asked your investor what can they bring on the table? Have you asked your investor, this is what we want from you? Have you give them that responsibility that sir business मेरा नहीं आपका भी और हम साथ में मिलकर grow करेंगे? Investors are many a times feeling left out. And that is also one of the reason investor will feel कि यहाँ पे invest करूँगा पर मेरा कोई control नहीं रहेगा, मेरा कोई involvement ही नहीं है. मैं ये नहीं बोलता हूँ कि आप उनको decision making right दे दो, but उनके suggestions तो लो. यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम ये आ रहा है कि इन्वेस्टर के लोग सजेशन भी नहीं लेते. लोग बोलते हैं कि आइदर माई वे और हाईवे. इट वॉन्ट वर्क दैट वे. वन ऑफ द स्टार्टअप वेयर आई फैसिलिटेटेड इन इन्वेस्टमेंट फ्रॉम एन इन्वेस्टर, द स्टार्टअप वॉज बेस्ड आउट ऑफ गांधीनगर. Investor invested money. Investor was very bullish. Investor wrote a message to many of his friends that I have invested in this company. Now I want कि हम सब साथ में मिलकर उस कंपनी को ऑर्डर दें और ग्रो करें. 15 दिन के बाद स्टार्टअप फाउंडर्स have stopped responding to investor messages and call. And after 1 month, the place from where they were operational was locked. Investor could not find the startup founders. Some 50 or 75 lakh rupee was given. Just in 15 days, 75 lakh rupee was spent. Investor is gone. Now investor was a very gentleman guy. He was an industrialist. He is like, संकेत भाई इनके ऊपर केस कर दूं, वो उनके पास कुछ है ही नहीं, मुझे दे पाएंगे और मेरा टाइम ज़्यादा बिगड़ेगा. What should I do? And then whatever we did was secondary matter. But what is important is to build the right relationship with investor. Now if you show this approach while you are making your presentation, investor will like you. आपने बहुत सारे इन्वेस्टर को सुना होगा, बहुत सारे लोगों को सुना होगा कि वी इन्वेस्ट ऑन पीपल, वी डोंट इन्वेस्ट ऑन आइडियाज. सो मेरा आज का कंसेप्ट जो है ना वो इसी पे है कि व्हाट शुड बी योर अप्रोच टू इन्वेस्टर्स सो दैट दे लाइक यू. हमारे सामने 100 पिच आती है, हमारे सामने 500 डेक्स आते हैं, हम 2 या 5 में इन्वेस्ट कर पाएंगे. हमारे इन्वेस्टर ग्रुप जो है वो भी बोलते हैं कि संकेत पे इतने सारे स्टार्टअप कहाँ हम देख पाएंगे. नो वन हैज़ अनलिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज. So now the point is, when every investor says one thing, that we invest on paper, what do they mean? They mean we invest on a dynamic, conceptually clear, with a clarity. जो स्टार्टअप फाउंडर हमारे पास आता है, हम उनके ऊपर, उनके प्लान में हम इन्वेस्ट करते हैं. राइट पर्सन इज इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? You just can't really think of getting the investor only on your future promises. Make them a part of the journey. Give them a comfort. Yes, he is the guy I want to invest. Let's say tomorrow morning, if my business, if let's say government policy came, COVID, we all have seen unprecedented time. Situation has gone out of control. At least investor will stand by you. And if clarity is there between you and your investor, don't be typically marketing person when you present your pitch deck. Make the things crystal clear. जो है ये है. It's okay not to have revenues. It's okay not to have too big plans. But do you have survival plan? Sustainable plan? सर मैं इससे ज़्यादा नहीं सोच पाऊंगा, बट आपकी हेल्प रहेगी तो हम सोच लेंगे, हम कर लेंगे. बट द पॉइंट इज, व्हाट आई एम फाइंडिंग डिफिकल्टी इज स्टार्टअप्स आर नॉट विलिंग टू शेयर. क्लैरिटी इज मिसिंग. दे हैव कंसिडर्ड इन्वेस्टर्स आर देयर एनिमीज, कि इनके पास पैसा इसलिए जाना पड़ रहा है, वरना मुझे किसी की ज़रूरत नहीं है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, लेट्स कंसिडर, लेट्स यूज दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी, लेट्स यूज दिस मीडियम टू एक्सप्लोर वन थिंग, दैट वी want our business to grow. If you have a right approach to investors, why investors will say no? राइट बिजनेस, राइट पोटेंशियल. अगर आप वो बिजनेस अच्छा कर ही नहीं रहे हो तो इंक्यूबेटर भी आपको लेगा नहीं. अगर इंक्यूबेटर बोल रहा है कि आप इन्वेस्टेबल हो, मतलब आप में कुछ कैपेबिलिटी है, ग्रोथ है, तो ही आप आए हो. तो बिजनेस प्लान कैसा होना चाहिए वो मैं बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. बिजनेस का पोटेंशियल कैसा होना चाहिए, वो तो बिजनेस का पोटेंशियल है, तभी आप पिच भी कर रहे हो, तभी आपको पैसे की ज़रूरत भी है. मैं उसकी भी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मैं बात कर रहा हूं आप इन्वेस्टर के साथ डील कैसे करें कि इन्वेस्टर को आप में इंटरेस्ट आए. द मोमेंट इन्वेस्टर विल से कि यस, दिस इज द राइट गाय, आई वांट टू इन्वेस्ट, योर आइडिया, योर बिजनेस विल बिकम सेकेंडरी. द कंसेप्ट, द सेंट्रल थीम ऑफ टुडेज डिस्कशन इज हाउ डू यू मेक योर pitch such a way that investor will gain a confidence in you. Because the important part is investor should like you. Then money, getting other investments, growing your venture, modification of idea, whatever is needed can be taken care of in a right aspect. We many a time feel कि हमारा आइडिया इतना अच्छा है, ये बिल्कुल वाहियात से आइडिया को भी इतना पैसा क्यों मिल जाता है. तो कभी आपने सोचा कि हमें क्यों नहीं मिलता है? सब लोग एक चीज़ बोलते हैं कि हमारे पास नेटवर्क नहीं है. अभी EDI जैसे तो बहुत सारे इंक्यूबेटर्स हैं, EDI भी है, बहुत सारे इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ कनेक्ट होते हैं. इतने इन्वेस्टर्स के प्लेटफॉर्म चलते हैं, मुंबई एंजल्स, बेंगलोर एंजल्स, इंडियन एंजल नेटवर्क, सब कुछ ऑनलाइन अवेलेबल है. तो फिर आपको कोई पैसा क्यों नहीं? सो थिंक फ्रॉम दैट परस्पेक्टिव कि जब मैं सामने बैठूंगा तो इन्वेस्टर को कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि मैं ये बिजनेस कर पाऊंगा. इन्वेस्टर को ये कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि हम साथ में मिलकर ग्रो हो सकते हैं. अगर वो कॉन्फिडेंस आप दे पाए तो सर, बिलीव मी, यू विल गेट द इन्वेस्टर. पिचिंग कैसे करना है वो सिखाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, क्योंकि जब अंदर से आता है ना, जब आपके पास इन डेप्थ नॉलेज हो ना आपके फील्ड का, तब Language is not a barrier. Communication is not a barrier. The order of slide doesn't matter. Right? I don't want to pinpoint you guys as a typical student कि पहले अबाउट अस होना चाहिए और लास्ट में कॉन्टेक्ट अस होना चाहिए. सबको आता ही है ये. प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट पहले लिखो, बाद में आपका सॉल्यूशन लिखो, फिर टीम के बारे में लिखो, फिर आपको आस्क क्या चाहिए ये लिखो. ये सब नहीं बोलना मुझे, ये आपको मालूम है. इम्पोर्टेंट क्या है कि ये बोलने के बाद 50-50 पिचिंग करने के बाद भी क्या आपको पैसा मिला? तो क्यों नहीं मिला? लेट्स इंट्रोस्पेक्ट दैट टुडे. What is it that is missing? And every investor says only one thing: we don't invest on idea, we invest on person. So now it's time to consider your own self कि हम क्या करें कि हमारे ऊपर इन्वेस्टमेंट हो. आइडियाज आर सेकेंडरी. बाद में जो ये क्वेश्चंस है ना कि हम मल्टीपल बिजनेस करेंगे तो क्या लोग इन्वेस्ट करेंगे? हाँ, करेंगे. राइट. हमारा प्लान में हमने बहुत सारी चीज़ें यहाँ पे कवर नहीं की. कई लोग ऐसे होते हैं कि खुद का एक पेरेंट कंपनी बनाते हैं, सब्सिडरीज एसपीवीज बनाते रहते हैं और वहाँ पे इन्वेस्टमेंट लाते रहते हैं. तो लोग बोलते हैं कि सर इतना इजीली थोड़ी इन्वेस्टर हाँ बोलेंगे. इन्वेस्टर नहीं बोलेगा मुझे पेरेंट कंपनी में पैसा चाहिए. हर एक चीज़ का सॉल्यूशन निकलता है. क्या आप में वो बात है? और कॉन्फिडेंस काम से आता है. कॉन्फिडेंस की बुक्स पढ़ने से नहीं आता है, नॉलेज से आता है. When you are in front of 100 people and you are asked to speak on your subject, you will be able to speak endlessly. But when you are in front of 100 people, but you are asked to speak something not relevant to your subject, some universal asteroid के बारे में बात करनी है, I don't know how many of you are capable of. अगर वो सब्जेक्ट आपका नहीं है तो आप में कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आएगा. तो कॉन्फिडेंस इज अ बाई प्रोडक्ट ऑफ द एक्शन, सिंपल, एंड नॉलेज. तो वो है सब में. सब लोग अच्छा स्टार्टअप लेके बैठे हो. नाउ द इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट इज ओनली वन: मेक इन्वेस्टर दैट कंफर्टेबल कि यार इनके साथ बिजनेस करना है, रेस्ट एवरीथिंग विल फॉल इन प्लेस. यू डोंट नीड एनी टेम्पलेट्स हैं. लोग 5 मिनट में बात करके भी क्लोज करते हैं. व्हाट इज एलिवेटर पिच? No PPT, no presentation. 1 minute, 2 minute discussion. An investor will take a call whether to invest or not. क्या वो लोग आइडिया पे इन्वेस्ट करते हैं? नहीं, वो बंदे पे इन्वेस्ट कर लेते हैं 1-2 मिनट में. So with this point, sir, it's 2:37. I don't want to stretch it beyond the timeline given. I am sure other investors are also here and startups are also waiting to pitch. So hope this was a very short, very brief discussion. But hope some insightful discussions have happened, and my coordinates are available with the CEO, with the team of CrADLE. You can please ask them. If at all I can be of any help, please write it to me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sarji.